What is up, Legends Club? Good morning. Yeah, I hit the Twitch button too. I thought, what the heck? Why the heck not? You know what I mean? I'll hit the Twitch button too. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll do Sundays. I don't know. A few streamers I've watched have sworn by streaming simultaneously on YouTube and Twitch. So I mean, I don't know if I'll do it for most of the streams, but we'll do it for the Sunday ones. How about that? My Santa hat is that staying straight? Stay. And that's exactly what I watched, Josh. That's exactly what I watched yesterday. Granted, he is a gigantic streamer, so but we'll try. We'll try. What's going on, everyone? We got first off, I want to say congratulations to our buddy P90, who hits over 2,000 subs. Am I in focus? We are in focus. There we go. So congrats to you, dude. And thank you to everybody who took part in the Fortnite 12-hour extravaganza yesterday. So shout out to Matt, to JP, Average Gamer. We had, of course, Chad. Who else was in there for most of the day? Everybody who popped in and out. It was a ton of fun. JT, good stuff, guys. And you made it a lot easier for me to do that. So that was a ton of fun. Cheers, by the way. Thank you, Matt. Matt remembers everything. That was fun. And I don't know about you guys. I went through the battle pass and I clicked everything. And dude, not even halfway through the battle pass. That's crazy. That's crazy. I almost finished up the classic battle pass, the OG one. But the other one, it's still, I don't even think I'm halfway. But I mean, it's going till February, so that's good. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out. Just something fun I wanted to try with the 12-hour Fortnite stream. So that is on the channel, so you guys can check it out. Give me one quick sec here. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, that is on the channel. So if you guys do want to check it out, it is live right now. Carpenter Joe. I hope I said that right. Carpin OC Tem Joe. I don't know. I probably butchered that. Thank you for the sub. Completely butchered that. We are here doing EGM number 39. I think we are on. So that is awesome. I'm super pumped for that one. We have Turtles, Hyperstone, Heist, Carp, Nocturne, Joe. Thank you. Where would we be without Matt keeping us right exactly in line? I don't know where we would be. Thank you for the sub. And yeah, I hope you guys got a chance to recover. I see Cutthroat's here. And Cutthroat was there, I think, for the entire stream. There was a ton of you guys that were also there watching, hanging out. So that's awesome. So thanks for that. Who's the extra reader? It's just me, my friend. Just me. Indo Nerd is here. Who else did I miss? Den popped in. JP is here. Matt Rubin. Batstan is here. This microphone is driving me crazy. And Indo Nerd, Mr. Bartlett, good morning. Video games and Christmas equal good memories. Yeah. So what did everybody pick? So I put on the poll here. I usually get the best games for birthdays or Christmas or other. So do tell. So 43%. So let's hear it. Where 29 and 29. I would say other too. My main, again, I have that memory of getting Super Mario Brothers 3 for Easter. That's the biggest memory I have for video games, and getting my NES system on Christmas. But I think getting Mario 3 was probably more exciting. You got a Hyperstone Heist on the Genesis too. Yeah, that's awesome. We're on our 4th day of the 12 days of gaming, thanks to our one sponsor game cycle here in London, Ontario. random issue of EGM because John, who is the manager of Game Cycle, gave me a big stack of newer EGMs, so we'll be giving that away. Assassin's Creed Origins as well. That'll be a 2-4 we're going to give away today. So again, shout out to Game Cycle. All I ask, guys, give them a follow on social media. Check out their content. Of course, if you're in town, make sure you stop by and give them a sub on YouTube as well. I appreciate that. Christmas for you, Cutthroat? Yeah, okay. Indo Nerd says, I ordered a Super Nintendo from a U.S. store, hoping it would be here well before Canada's release. Ended up getting here probably a week before. That's awesome. That reminds me of my when I got the Japanese Nintendo 64. I can't remember the import store that used to be in town here. I cannot remember. All I remember was a guy named Jeff used to own it. That's all I remember. But yeah, I had that. I think it was 4 months before it came here. So I was kind of the cool kid for that summer. Kinda, just saying. Matt said my dad was trying to make me happy when he had me work at his store instead of hanging with friends as a teen. He bought me a Dreamcast bundle from Sam's Club, version of Costco, right? System in 2-3 games. That's pretty sweet. Hopefully he made up for that just a tad for you. I got Sonic Spinball for Easter. I disliked it. Yeah, game's not very good. I guess if you're into pinball, right? Your poll is invalid. It's all of the above. Fair enough. Fair enough, my friend. Happy Sunday to you. Good to see you. Raj, what is up? The cheers to you. Here you go. Anything Japanese was amazing, and we bought a few copiers from a game store on Yonge Street called Dragon's Palace. Oh, right. It wasn't it PS1, I remember. It was really easy to get bootleg copies of games. I remember the trick. It was something to do with like a pin. You would just bypass that beginning part. I never did get it to work, but I think if you left the tray up, you could bypass the intro logo with a pin, and it would kind of trick the console, and then you could play at least Japanese games. I remember that. Your brownies were good? Nice, dude. Good. Never heard of crock pot brownies before, but there you go. JP says, Christmas parents got me a PS2, new with 2 games, GTA, and Driver 1. They didn't know they were PS1 games. Oh, God. Well, they still played. I mean, they're not cutting-edge graphics. I was going to say, if you got it on launch, GTA 3 was like the next year. The SNES games were copied onto floppies and still have all of that. Oh, my God. I never heard of that. That's crazy. I remember when emulation was a thing, when that started up. It seemed like such a complicated process back in the day, but turns out, I guess it isn't really that hard, especially today, right? Okay, we got to get to a word from our sponsor, and then we're going to get to EGM number 39. Again, guys, if you want to follow along, just go to Retro Mags. The link to Retro Mags is in the description of this video, and you can check out the EGM that we're currently on and make it a little bit bigger for you, especially if you're on a phone. So check it out. Game Store is the hottest new online gaming store, hitting just in time for the holiday season. You can find their insane selection of miniature games, collectible card games, and board games at thegamestore.com. Currently, they're pushing their huge campaign on filling half their store with video games. And that means they are buying video games like crazy. Now, if you can't make it to their brick and mortar store, you can sell your games online with 3 easy steps. Step number 1, send a list of the games you wish to sell at sales@thegamestore.com. Make sure you add if they're complete, working, non-working, or minty fresh. 2, you will receive a preliminary offer back that may change depending on further inspection. Once you have the offer, it's good for 3 days. All you have to do is reply back, and accept it. Step 3. Finally, the game store will send you a prepaid label that you print out and you just ship your games to them. Upon inspection, verification, and acceptance of the price, they will send you the money any way you choose. Now that can be cash, check, PayPal, bottle caps, any way you choose. Get in on the ground floor and sell your games that are just sitting there collecting dust. And just remember, wherever you are, wherever you play, everyone shops at the game store. Indeed. Thank you, Mr. Bartlett, for that. Appreciate it. All right, let's crack into EGM. Number 39. We are at October 1992. Man, 92. What a great year. What a great year. So look at this. Yeah, look at this. The prices, guys. So $5.95 in Canada. That was a lot of money. That was a lot of money back then. I remember when I used to get them, they were $4.99. So now we're up to $5.95 in Canada, $4.95 in the US. That's probably about like $20 right now. I would say that's around $20. I'm just guessing. We got lots of stuff. So the Hyperstone Heist. Never really played much of it. I played it. I think I did a playthrough once. And I think it's pretty much like Turtles in Time, with just a little bit of differences here and there. Again, because Nintendo was picky, and they didn't want the exact same game on their console. So I think Konami had to change it up a bit. Correct me if I'm wrong, JP. I know you said you played it. Montana's getting ready to MVP it up. I wish. Well, this is sports talk. I think they're going to do sports talk too here. Wake up. I love the first Montana game. The sports talk was a cool gimmick, but I didn't like how they changed it to side. I don't know. Sorry, it's Indo Nerd who said that. My bad. Wake Up says, I watched a guy play all 6 NES games at once yesterday. Every time he got hit, he randomly changed to a different Mega Man. Oh, that's so cool. That's such a cool idea. That's such a cool idea. I love that. Let's crack this bad boy open. Don't you love that smell? I love this smell. Do you guys have old game magazines kicking around? I love that smell. It's little different than the old comic book smell, but I do love it. Matt says Turtles, Wing Commander, Dragon Warrior 4, Mega Man 5 are all titles on the cover I'd be most excited for. Yeah, this is going to be... Is Mega Man 5 on there? Oh, yeah. Geez, we already did Mega Man 4? Time's flying by here, isn't it? It's flying by. We got Software, etc. I think we talked about this last week. Who remembers Software, etc.? I think this was just in the States. I certainly do not remember this one whatsoever. But didn't we figure out that this was one of the companies that GameStop bought when they purchased the 5 companies that formed GameStop? Oh, look at the insert coin. Look at the new graphics. They're into money. Look at this. A new look for a new generation of games. This issue of Electronic Gaming Monthly you now hold in your hands or looking at on the screen is special for several reasons. The most noticeable change that you'll recognize between this and the previous editions of EGM is undoubtedly the magazine's new structure and look. Using your valuable input, several months were taken to transform the best of what EGM was all about and put it into a new package, and would be more informative, cooler to look at, and ultimately more fun to read. And you can see here at the editorial that they've broken up the paragraphs, which already is so much easier on the eyes. Look at that. Do you not agree with that? That's awesome. The most important significance, however, is that this issue represents the 4th year of publication for Electronic Gaming Monthly. It's been a great time, and although we're still looking forward to the future, During my involvement with this specific issue of EGM, I found myself peering back at where we've been and how we've got to where we are today. So do we. So do we, Steve. Every single Sunday. As all diehard gamers know, things have changed drastically since our inception in 1988. Our first issues revolved around the what is that word? Fledgling? What? Nintendo and Sega 8-bit platforms. I don't even know what that word means. In those days, 16-bit was nothing but a rumor, although EGM did have pictures and specs for the Super NES in June of 89. And portable games were relegated to old single-screen Tiger games that boasted big names but played like board games. Gino, what is going on? Fledgling, another term for child or youngling. I've never heard that word in my entire life. Thanks, Matt. Wow. Hope I pronounced it right. Fledgling. There you go. Canadian school system. Or maybe it's the fact that I didn't go to English that much. Either way, we're carrying on here. Any regular reader of Electronic Gaming Monthly has been witness to the launch of half a dozen new hardware formats, as well as a couple more that never quite got out of the box. Remember the Conic system? I know I do. Same goes for new software, an integral engine that makes these machines move. While some argue against delivering information on products that may never make it to the shores, Electronic Gaming Monthly has always invested in the future of the hobby by reporting on all developments that impact the marketplace. And we thank you for that. It has remained one of our guiding philosophies to educate you, the consumer, with only the most honest game reviews from game players, not literally students who can't tell the difference between a power-up and a 7-up. Oh my God. As well as delivering news on new softs, hardware from every corner of electronic gaming. We've always tried to bring you with us inside the industry so that though the pages of EGM you could sit next, oh my God, to the what? Presidents and programmers who make video games so much fun to play. So dig it, our new EGM, whether you like Nintendo, Genesis, Super NES, Turbo Duo, Neo Geo, Game Boy, Game Gear, Lynx, Arcade, or International Play, this is the mag that's got you covered. All right. It wasn't the best read I've done, but it was all right over here. I pronounced it correctly. Okay, good. So new format, I read it worse, but hey, that's fine. Predator 2. Oh, Predator 2. Predator 2. Yeah, you guys have been telling me, I think on the game streams, we brought this particular movie up and you guys were all about it's so good. Predator 2 is so good. But you got to remember, man, like following this up with the lead of Danny Glover instead of Schwarzenegger, it was a little weird to me. And I was just kind of like, See, it's Matt says, good movie, not sure about the game. Yeah, I've never played the game either, but I'm going to, to be fair to all the Predator 2 fans out there, I'm going to check it out. Maybe it's on a streaming system. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. Maybe the DVD I can get for like 70 cents. Who knows? There we go. Moving on. Ooh, look at the letters to the editor. Look at this. New Street Fighter game. Capcom World 2. What the heck is Capcom World 2? No more Street Fighter 2. Okay. Let's start with that one. And we all love Street Fighter 2. But I feel like the game is so huge. We've been bombarded with Street Fighter 2 coverage. It's probably the last 8-9 issues. So let's start with this one here in the bottom right that says no more Street Fighter 2. This is from Rex Shaw from Orange County, California. And Rex says, okay, dudes, enough is enough. You have done everything possible on Street Fighter 2. It's time to move on. Jeez. And the response is, bet you wouldn't be saying that if Ryu were standing behind you. Oh, God. What do you think, folks? Had enough of the World Warriors for one lifetime? That's it. That's the letter. The guy basically wrote in just to troll them and say, just enough with the Street Fighter 2. This Rex guy must have been a lonely guy. Well, that's what I mean. Like, we talk about how long it would be from the whole pen to paper process to mailing it to how long they would have got it. I think they're in Chicago, right? Yes, this guy's in California, probably just a couple days, whatever. But then they'd have to sift through the letters, and if they deemed your letter worthy, then they'd print it. So you'd be waiting like probably 3 months just for that 2 sentences. It was 2 sentences. I disagree. I mean, I'm a huge Street Fighter 2 fan, so every article they put out, everything, I ate it up. And the game backed it up. The game 100% backed it up. Yeah, Josh, you're not drinking 7-Up right now, are you? Come on, man. It's all about the black coffee, guys. Let's go. Cheers. Okay, well, I do want to check out, actually, speaking of Street Fighter 2, let's go back on that just a tad and look at this center letter here. Needed a good Street Fighter 2 stick. This is from Peter White from Tupelo, MS is Missouri. I think the Super Nintendo is the best system around. Granted, it started out a little shaky. What are you talking about, man? The system launched with Super Mario World. Peter. But now the newer games have eliminated the slowdown. What I need, however, is a full-featured controller that works great with Street Fighter 2. What do you recommend? Bobby, what's going on? Good to see you. Welcome to the EGM stream. Okay, so the next guy, this is James Mosby from Texas, Springfield? Well, I don't know. Is Mountain Dew good at 10 in the morning? I don't know, Matt. You tell me. Is it? B-Man, what are you saying? Diet Canada Dry ginger ale here and ketchup chips at 10 in the morning? God bless you guys. God bless you guys. Hey, do it. Do it. Do what you got to do, man. So James says, I just bought Street Fighter 2 and it is awesome. I want to buy a controller, and the 2 from CNL Stick and Universal Arcade sound great, but I don't want to pay a fortune. Is there another one which I can buy that won't break my bank? That's a very valid point, but if you want the Street Fighter experience, these arcade sticks are not cheap, and they're going to cost you money. James, I hate to tell you. They're going to cost you. Okay, look at this thing. This is the Do a Dragon Punch by pressing one button on the Game Master by Triton Toys. What the hell is Triton Toys? I have no idea. Bobby, I'll take your word for that. Wake Up says, I wrote a letter to Nintendo Power once when I was a kid. I found the Chris Holahan room accidentally, and I didn't know how, why, etc., and was asking if they knew before widely known. Interesting. Raj, yeah, Josh, answered that for you. They still make Canada Dry. They do. Yep. Ginger ale. We used to drink that a lot when we were sick as kids, but can't do it anymore. What? Probably, Bobby. We used to. I hate to say this, but I'll just say it. Like in high school, me and my group of, like, how you hung out with the different groups of people, right? The gamer group that I hung out with, dude, this was like our textbook. 100%. We'd always have the new issue and the back issue. It's a miracle that I actually had girlfriends in high school. I'm just gonna say, because, dude, like, I have my binder, right, walking down the hallway, and I would put EGM like outside, so it's hanging out so everyone could see it. I didn't try and hide this. I was so proud of it, man. I did have girlfriends, believe it or not. I did. I don't know how, but I did. Okay, look at this Triton thing. If you play Street Fighter 2 a lot, there is a new pad called the Game Master from Triton Toys. With this stick, you can program in the special moves. Imagine doing a dragon punch with one button press. See, that's stupid. That's dumb. Come on. Then you're going to go to the arcade and you're not going to know how to do anything. An old Rex who plays Balrog, you know what I'm saying, right? Rex plays Balrog because you know he's a serious player. He's going to mop the floor with you, and you're not even going to know how to do anything. Jay showed them the power glove. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Dude, I don't know. I'm trying to remember how I met my first girlfriend. It was through my buddy's girlfriend. It was her best friend at the time. So, yeah, I don't know, dude. It was cool, man. My first girlfriend, she was so awesome. She was one of the only people I knew that had a CD player. This would have been like 1991. And I remember I bought Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and Pearl Jam 10. And I didn't even have a CD player. But I would go to her house on the weekend, right, and hang out. So I'd bring my 2 CDs that I owned. And she actually let me play them like the whole weekend. True story. True story. I was a skater game. Dude, I skated too. What decks did you have? My first was a Christian Hosoi. And dude, that thing was a coffee table. I had Corey O'Brien, Tony Hawk. I think I had a Powell Peralta blank. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, moving on. Too many sequels. Oh, wow. In the year 1992, my friends, we already have somebody writing in complaining that there's too many sequels. I'm assuming that they're going to be bringing up Mega Man at some point. Oh, nice, Bobby. 6th grade. Nice, dude. Brian from Twitchland. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for the view. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. I just thought I'd hit the Twitch button at the same time, even though I don't ever stream on Twitch. But thanks, man. Yeah, that old Konami artwork is great, right? Okay, so yikes, your last issue really made a statement. Super Mario Land 2, Strider 2, Phantasy Star 4, Afterburner 3, Thunder Force 4, and RBI 4 are all sequels. Don't manufacturers have any original ideas anymore? Dude, this is from 1992, and they're complaining about sequel burnout. Well, let me tell you something. Brian Gottlock from the future. Wait till you get to 2024, mate, where they remake everything. Every movie you ever liked, every show you ever held dear, every game you ever liked. Hold the line, buddy. You got it made in 92. That's all I'm saying. It seems that we're being suffocated by sequels. Just because a game has more memory or better graphics than the original doesn't always make it better. Buying them is tempting, but I, for one, feel cheapened when purchasing a cart that relies on its predecessor's popularity. We have already endured 5 Mario adventures, 3 Shinobis, 3 Ghouls and Ghosts, 5 Turtle games, and 7 Batman games. Before the turn of the century, we might dwell in a world of all sequels. Oh my God, this guy is from the future. Draco, right? What's up, Packers? Legend. Dude, this is crazy. Before the turn of the century, might dwell in a world with all sequels. I think it's time that game developers start coming up with better ideas, says Brian Gottlock from wherever that is. Newitt, New York. And Ed says, you forgot Mega Man 5 and Adventure Island 3. Get to pay your overwheeling thoughts, however, because a quick glance around, you've seen some kicking original stuff like Out of This World, Mario Paint, and a whole new batch of CD games some with real motion video. Bobby says, I was 12 in 1992. Okay, let me do the math. 16. I was 16, I think. Yeah, Brian says real motion. Holy heck, the future is now. We have seen the future with games like Sewer Shark and Night Trap. We've seen the future. Fishy Chips. This is from Derek Snock. Whoa. From when? What are these names, man? Can't you live in just like New York, New York? From wherever that is, New Jersey. Hey, it's not his fault I can't read over here. I have been following your coverage of Street Fighter 2 since it was first mentioned in Gaming Gossip. I now have the cartridge and I have a few questions about the 16 meg wonder. In one issue, you had a picture of the game's circuit board showing 4 meg chips. When I got the game, I was surprised to see how small the cartridge actually was. I tried to take it apart. Oh my God. And I couldn't because it required a special screwdriver. After breaking the shell, can you imagine buying Street Fighter for $90 in 1992 and then you break it open? Oh my God, dude. Anyway, I tried to take it apart. I couldn't need a special screwdriver. After breaking the shell, I found out why they didn't want anybody to look inside. There were only 2 main memory chips on a tiny board. What happened? Did Capcom find a way to compress the data? Or did I get scammed and buy a false copy? Is it still 16 meg? I thought there was supposed to be a special music chip built in. These are the kind of things that kept poor Derek up at night. Poor Derek couldn't sleep. Dudes, he cracked it open. He took a knife or whatever, a screwdriver, a flathead, and pried open that poor Capcom cart and most likely destroyed it to find out. He thought he was being scammed. Oh my God. No deception here, Derek. The photo we ran was of the working prototype. This microphone. Once the program is finished, the info is packed into 8 meg chips, like the ones in the circuit board. There's no special music chip. Okay, whatever. Let's catch up here. VR was crazy in 92. Yeah, Bobby, we had a place here in London, and he had a special like VR-ish helmet that had like the DOS version of Doom running off it. It wasn't VR. It was just like the screen was really close to your eyes, but I remember him calling it VR. Brian says, why the crap did this guy break the cartridge? Because EGM showed pictures of the board that said Street Fighter Capcom made it 16 megs, which was huge for a Super Nintendo game. And he just wanted to see for himself, I guess. There's $90 down the drain. Yep. There you go. Oh, look at this wicked Batman art. Revenge of the Jokester. Oh, Locke is in the multiverse. Thanks, buddy, for popping on Twitch. Yeah, again, what JP said earlier. Moist Critical put out a video, I think, yesterday talking about multi-streaming and how it's just beneficial. Of course, he's 600 million times bigger than I am. But I'm thinking about doing it for the talking head streams like this. It's just as easy as me to click a button. But for the game ones, it's a little bit different. Anyway, you guys don't care about that. Who cares? Let's move on. Oh, look at the review section. Oh, it's so nice. Oh, they cleaned it up. Dude, look at Mario Paint as a full page. The game of the month. Good morning, P90. Once again, my friend, congrats on 2,000+. I think you're at 2.39 this morning. Congrats, buddy. Keep up the good work. Anyone who hasn't subbed to P90 in the chat there. P90X Bowler, please check him out. Does some great retro content, and he's really good at the games. Mario Paint, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you guys tell me in the chat. I'll read Steve and one other. We did Sushi X last week. So if you want me to read Martin, I feel like Martin gets like a little neglected. Or if you want me to read Ed, you guys let me know. But let's see what Steve's been up to this last month. My favorite TV show continues to be Star Trek The Next Generation. Worf's the best of the bunch, even though the poor guy gets beat up every episode. Is that true? Is that true? Martin. All right, P90, you got it. Oh, thanks, Raj. Appreciate that, dude. We hit that sometime last night, I think. Appreciate that. Yeah, let's do Martin. Let's do Martin. That's what she said. Let's go. You're the best, Raj. Thank you for that. All right, what's Martin been up to? Puma. What? Mystery Science Theater 3000 and Ren and Stimpy are the best TV shows around, in my opinion. If Powdered Toast Man were running, I'd vote for him. We can all thank God that Powdered Toast Man did not run for office, because that would be a hell of a country that you guys in the U.S. have. Average Gamer is here. Good morning. You recovered from our Fortnite extravaganza. Good to see you again, my friend. Okay, Mario Paint, the game of the month. It got an 8 from Steve, so we're going to read Steve and Martin. 8. Don't be fooled by the fact that this soft doesn't necessarily follow into the game category. Mario Paint is a fantastic program that, besides allowing you to express your creative side, has the same depth and detail in presentation that you'd find in the hottest video games. This cart is great fun for all ages. Cheers. And Brian, I agree. Dude, it's so good. How you liking the OG? I just want to give a shout out to Brian too, guys. Good buddy of mine, good buddy of Will's. Make sure you give him a follow on Twitch, okay? And Brian, we played OG, so we did a big stream yesterday, and our final match, we did no weapons. So I threw it out to the chat. We were doing squads, so I threw it out to the chat. I said, how low do you think we can get before we get taken out with no weapons? And it was in the 20s. We got second place, man. Our team got second place. We were like stealth ninjas, and then we just took this house that was kind of half destroyed, and I just built walls around it, and we just stood there. It was awesome. Thanks for that, Matt. OG's hard, dude. It is hard. It plays more like PUBG. Yeah, it's tough. All right. Martin gave Mario Paint a 9. Well, this cart is not what you'd call a video game. I found it to be a blast. The creative possibilities are endless. Making your own animation and music combos is by far the most fun. Tons of humorous animation are featured within the different studios. The only disappointment is you can only save one thing at a time. Ooh, yeah, that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough. Can you imagine? You want to make like a music composition or like, a nice piece of art like the one that we can see here. You can only save one at a time. That's rough, man. Dude, Brian, shotguns only. Yeah. It's if you don't have a shotgun in OG, you're dead. And dude, we were getting like mid-range killed by shotguns. It's crazy. I could see why they nerfed them back in the day, but I still thought it was fun. It's good stuff. All right. Moving on. Star Wars on the Game Boy. I'll pass. Thank you very much. Humongous. What the hell is this? I don't think I've ever heard of this one. By Electronic Arts for the Super Nintendo. Which one is Martin? Martin's the third. Okay. So Steve gave it a 6. The twist that this game provides is cool, but isn't presented in the way that could have made it a winner. Whoa, I screwed that up. But isn't presented in a way that could have made it a winner. Nothing is really wrong with the gameplay, but it doesn't contain any type of new technique that would warrant the setting being anything other than a different type of wallpaper behind the normal action adventure. Well, considering I can't even really recall this one, bleh. And Martin gives it a 7. This is a great original action game from the folks at EA. The graphics are cool and the oversized backgrounds add on great effect. Even though the animation is a little choppy, the gameplay is smooth and interesting. A good selection of power-ups keep things fun. The game is too easy for my liking, but still fun. Yeah, never heard of it. Might have to check that out. You loved Hard Driving, Bobby. Yeah. That was one of the first early Polygon games that I can remember. It didn't control the greatest, like on the home consoles. The arcade was all right, though. Dude, yeah, we were in that hut, and then Chad was just like, we're talking about Fortnite again, and Chad was just like, just don't move. So we stood absolutely still, and then we kept shrinking our room. I kept putting up walls, and we got one guy down. One guy came in out of the 4, and we jumped on him with our pickaxes, and we took him down. Dude, I bet you we should try that again. I bet you we can get first. I bet you we can. Moving on to Super Buster Brothers by Capcom for this Super Nintendo. Ooh. Steve gives it a 4. Eesh. Super Buster Brothers has great backgrounds, some nice graphics, and good music. Problem is, all the action that takes place with the environments created in Super Buster Brothers is rudimentary and one-dimensional. You move left and right and shoot up at the falling objects. Some sound familiar? An update of an outdated concept. I think that's being a little bit too hard. What you call rudimentary, we now call as a certain style of game. And I understand back in 1992, that wasn't the case. This would seem archaic. But thankfully, ladies and gentlemen, the video game industry kept moving forward and kept making games in different styles like this. So I'm glad. And Martin gives it a 7. Now, here's a cart that reminds me of the good old days of gaming. Simple gameplay with a few solid techniques that stay fun and get very addictive. The graphics are cartoony and the gameplay is great. Different power-ups will let you clear the screen faster to break the monotony. Who can refuse 140 levels of absolute fun? I mean, I don't know. Moving on to Test Drive 2, yeah. Oh no, this is not Hard Driving. Test Drive 2 by Ballistic. Remember Ballistic? For the Super Nintendo. And this one pretty average from Steve, a 5. Anyone play Test Drive 2? This is one of those games that often, especially in the retro space, always got thrown out. Test Drive. But for me, I never got past. I don't think I actually ever played any of these ones. Same with Need for Speed. As popular as Need for Speed is, the only one I think I ever really gave any time to was Road and Track Presents Need for Speed, which was the first one. The version I played was on the 3DO because I got to be a hipster. But anyway, it wasn't really my thing. Test Drive 2 gets a 5 from old Steve, who says, to this game's credit, the feel of the action is good, but all the supporting features from the background scrolling to the look of opposing cars is shallow. Test Drive 2 isn't really bad in any sense, but nothing in the cart provides me with a real sense of speed, thrills, or action. You drive, and sometimes you die? Big deal. It sounds like Steve needs some coffee. Steve, I think you need a bit of coffee there, bud. And we got a 5 from Martin as well. So average. I was eager to see what could be done with the game on the Super NES. Unfortunately, I'm very disappointed by this cart. The gameplay is good and controls well, but it never actually feels like you're going 200 miles an hour. The graphics are kind of wimpy and could have been a lot more detailed for the Super Nintendo. Wow. There it is. Look at this. Look at this. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. I had this exact controller at that same import store that I was telling you guys about at the beginning of the show, where I got my Japanese Nintendo 64. I got this specific controller. Why in God's name do I not have this anymore? I don't know. But the buttons and the actual stick were made from Capcom parts, even though this is not a Capcom licensed controller, as you can clearly see. This is a third-party championship joystick made for Street Fighter for Super Nintendo. This thing was awesome. If memory serves me correctly, it was $100 back in the day. It was a lot of money. But this was cool, man, because it was the exact buttons. And even the Capcom stick that we've looked at from previous issues had the convex, where this had concave, right? Wait, concave. Bobby, you're a skater. Concave is in, right? Convex is out. Concave is in. Yeah, it's got to be concave. Yeah, the buttons were concave. So it was exactly like the arcade board, and it felt solid. I mean, look at the size of this thing. You would put this on a table, it's not going anywhere. But this thing was awesome. I wish I knew what happened to mine. I really do. But that's for another day. It may have been made from Capcom parts, but it looks chintzy as lips in that picture. It's no frills, right? So like this whole part here is like a solid block mat. It doesn't look like anything special, but it did the trick. Sadly, I didn't get to bring this to anybody's house, probably because I don't know, it's just too big. You know, I don't think I had a license back then, so I would have been taking this on the bus, and it just would have been really embarrassing. Zoo York boards have the crazy concave. Okay, dude, remember the going back to skating for a sec? Remember the trend in like the mid 90s? This is when I was kind of out of skating, but remember the trend of remember the tiny wheels? Remember that? I remember seeing like after I stopped skating, like skaters in the 90s and all their decks had these little wheels. I'm like, what? Because we had like the big chunky ones, right? I don't know. It must have been for street because you're not going to go on a ramp with those little things. Super Batter Up by Namco, another not so great title. So Steve gives it a 5. Well, it's necessary to review this game on its own merits. There's nothing to be found in this package that hasn't been tried before. The game further handicaps players and itself by limiting rather than building on options that are found in most baseball games being released today. Not extraordinary in any sense. The small wheels, hang on, let me get you up here. The small wheels help the board flip. Oh, so it's for street. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And we got a 4. I don't know what the pro. Oh, sorry, that's Sushi X. Sorry, a 5 from Martin. Here's another baseball card for the Super NES that really doesn't show off the system or play very well. The graphics are plain and would be fitting for an 8-bit system. Having real players is no fun when you don't have the teams. The music and sounds are really good, but sound effects can't save this mediocre effort. Yeah, and this was a weird time, right? As we saw in NHL 93, or as it was called, NHL PA 93. They had the original NHL had the licensed teams. The second one had the licensed players, like their last names. It was just a weird time. And then we would see like 94 on, companies like EA were huge. So they got the team license and the player license. But this is still that odd time where it's usually just one or another. And I think I would agree. I would rather have the licensed team because you could just use the number and know what player it is. You know what I mean? Gargoyle's Quest. So P90 and I were talking about Ghosts and Goblins this morning and that little red demon. Does anybody remember that red demon's name? So this Gargoyle's Quest is a spin-off, I think, of that character. Does anybody know who he's called? You know what I'm talking about? He's the one who always guards the checkpoint, and he has this really erratic kind of pattern. It's very tough to take down. Nope. Okay. 7. I always like the Ghouls and Ghosts games as well as the Game Boy follow-up that precedes this cart. The division of role-playing and action is well done, and neither type of game is overly difficult. This is a great game for those die-hard action buffs who might be interested in giving RPGs a try. Huh. I remember talking about someone. Did someone want to do a quick goggle search there? And just type in Ghosts and Goblins Red Demon. Okay, and we got 7 from Martin. This is a very good title for the NES. The game has good graphics and sounds and an interesting theme. The gameplay is half RPG and half action, just right for someone who isn't a hardcore role player. The quest is pretty long, and the action is hard enough to challenge most players. Lots of techniques and mystery. Firebrand. Wake Up says Firebrand. P90 says Firebrand. That's a weird name. But then again, they call bats keys in Zelda, right? So there you go. Power Blade 2. Again, I'm really loving all the NES games that we're seeing be reviewed right now, because what is happening is we're seeing like all these. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. We're seeing all the NES games that are worth a ton of money simply because they were just released so late. But here we are, nonetheless. Power Blade 2 by Taito. And it gets a 6 from old Steve. Power Blade 2 marks a better visual adventure, up a couple of notches from the original, but the game control and lack of punchy control techniques left me feeling sort of average. This game would have profited from some additional attention in the way it's played instead of how it looks in comparison to its namesake. I remember like picking this game up, but I have no absolute idea what this is. Power Blade 2. You know what, Cutthroat? It might be like a translation of a Japanese name. That might be the case too. I don't know. And Martin gives it 5. Power Blade 2 is a step up from the original, but that's not saying much. The graphics are slightly above average, and the sound is okay. The gameplay is good, but more technique could have been added to the main character. This cart ventures out a little more than other 8-bit action titles for the NES. Big whoop. Big whoop. Green Dog. Green Dog. Matt, it just sounds like two names that don't go together, like to form a name. Does that make sense? Like Firebrand. Yeah, Power Blade is one that's often talked about. It's rare, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. But Green Dog by Sega for the Genesis. Oh god, I know this game, but it doesn't it's not sticking out. We're not getting a lot of really great games in this month, are we? Not a lot of bangers so far. So we get a 6 from Steve, where Steve says Green Dog is another in a long line of action-oriented games that appear recently that roll the dice and find something new, but unfortunately miss the mark slightly. The look and feel of this game is unique, but that's part of the problem. With a little tweaking, this game could have played better than it does now. 6. And our old pal Martin, he gives it the old 7. I thought the theme for this cart was very original, and the main character is a cool guy. Oh, man. The gameplay is awkward because of the weird shape of the character and the strange timing needed to move around. The graphics and music are good, but not spectacular. The game has a lot of variety, however. Why do I think that this kind of plays like Lester the Unlikely? For those of you who have seen my gameplay on Lester the Unlikely, it's awful. It's awful. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have like any kind of platformer, you're gonna have to have a character that moves pretty dang well. And this character looks clunky, just weird, yeah. Moving on to RBI Baseball 4. Matt says Firebrand was also used as a name of a character in Young Justice Season 1. Huh. Cutthroat's banning. You don't even have a wrench. You're just verbally banning people left and right. Tight controls are definitely important. I think in every game, but yeah, especially in a platformer for sure. RBI 4, does anybody care? Does anybody care about RBI? Sorry, I do not. Tengen. I always called them Tengen. I'll continue to do so. Division of Atari, bringing out games that are unlicensed for the NES, but whatever. 7 from Steve. I've always liked the RBI series of games, and the update to the carts does indeed rework the familiar formula in a new and exciting way. The graphics have been rendered very well here, and despite the use of traditional video baseball controls, the game is none the worse for wear. A good all-around baseball game. And then we got a 7 from Martin. This is probably one of the better baseball games for the Genesis. The graphics are very good with lots of detail. I don't even care. Who cares? The gameplay is great. The controls are very well. Blah, blah, blah. It's baseball. Moving on. Here we go. Cosmic Fantasy 2 for the TurboGrafx CD-ROM. So again, now we're into Turbo Duo territory. So NEC has moved on, and the TurboGrafx has been rebranded, and the company has been kind of reformed into Turbo Technologies Incorporated, which I believe was mostly Hudson Soft, I believe. But this is kind of the last gasp of the TurboGrafx, and I feel like I've been saying that for like months now, but this truly is the last. HGC, I wish to hear about Cosmic Fantasy 2. All right, friend, you shall. Hey, it's getting pretty good reviews here. Okay, 8 from Steve. There we go. This RPG had several addicting qualities. While the game remains your typical quest filled with subplots and mysteries, I found the rewards of Cosmic Fantasy 2 to be much more enjoyable to reach than typical cart games. I don't know if this is a trend for me, but I liked Cosmic Fantasy and the CD fluff it delivered. Well, we're getting into the times now, ladies and gentlemen, where we're going to have a lot of CD fluff. And I, for one, am with Steve here. I love the CD fluff. I love it. Give it to me. 7 from Old Martin here. Of course, the music in this game is really cool. It's a CD, so that's to be expected. Oh, Martin. The gameplay is strictly role-playing, and has plenty of items to buy and information to locate. The graphics are good, and the cinema displays show off the abilities of the TTI CD-ROM developers. The quest moves at a quick pace. You know what I don't like about some of these reviewers? How they just because they only have 2 or 3 sentences, I feel like they don't have much to say. And I'm talking about Martin's review here. So he describes to us what a role-playing game is to fill space. You know what I mean? You got to do side quests. You got to go here and get new items. You don't have to tell us that, right? I think by 1992, we all kind of have the idea of what a role-playing game is. CDs are the future. Martin is banned from reviews forever. Kedgens Club. Oh, boy. Josh is going to get on you for that one. Moving on. Oh, we got another Turbo game, Soldier Blade. But unfortunately, it is another top-down shooter. Way too many of these, both on the Genesis, Super, and Turbo graphics. Sorry, just saying. You need to do that in a Sean Connery accent. CDs of the future. CDs of the future. That's not that great. CDs of the future. We call the dog Indiana. Shelf reliance. It's like shelf. Shelf reliance. Anyway, Soldier Blade gets a 7 from old Steve. I like a good shooter as much as the next guy, and although this game shares a lot in common with blastathons of years gone by, it still dishes up some nice levels of action. My only serious complaint is that the lack of power-ups and the inability to really juice up the screen with mega weapon upgrades. What? A nice card anyway. So if your shooter does not have power-ups, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm reading anymore. A lot of these games are so dull this month. 7 from Martin. For some odd reason, all of the shooters that have been released for the Turbo look and play like blazing lasers. The graphics and sounds are above average, and the gameplay is very good. There's not much originality here, but you get a solid shooter that's high on action and fast-paced fun. Martin Lawrence? No, not at all. Not at all. It's just Martin is, and from videos I've seen, he follows Ed around. I think he's like the assistant. I think he's got a really sweet mullet. I know that. You really know that, or I really know that. I'm reading the chat and saying what the chat is saying in my own sentence instead of saying what my brain wanted me to say. P90 says, Cutthroat, you need some happy pills. Oh, you guys are making me laugh on a Sunday morning. Chuck Rock. Who remembers Chuck Rock? Another in the great mascot wars of the 90s. We got Chuck Rock, the lovable caveman. Again, this is another one of those Lester unlikely games that the protagonist is pretty big and it just is slow and clumsy for the kind of game it's trying to be. My 2 cents. And this one is for the Game Gear by Sega. 7 from Steve. Chuck Rock is another game with an original theme that I've always enjoyed. The portable version remains almost all of the humor and action of the bigger boys, but it also suffers from the same weak points they have. In my opinion, always plagued the game. I butchered that one. It's still a nice version of the portable and worth a play. We've been seeing Chuck Rock ads all over the past few issues. Did you ever play it, dude? Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. But again, there's so many great mascots. Mario, Sonic. They play so well. So for me, I know back then I was so unforgiving. I would try something like this. And it doesn't have to best Mario because that's probably impossible to do, let's be honest. But it has to give you something that Mario doesn't, which I find also is pretty rare. Case in point, Boogerman. Actually, Boogerman's pretty sweet. Oh, Chuck Rock is no altered beast. You got that right. And by the way, HGC, Martin gave it a 6. And he said, hey, HGC, Chuck Rock has gone through a few changes from 16-bit to 8-bit handheld. The graphics are above average, but the sound gets annoying. The gameplay has retained most of the aspects of the original, and the controls well on the small screen. Hilarious prehistoric action that goes where you go. See, again, you don't have to give me the feature of the Game Gear, Martin, to take up a sentence. You don't have to do that. I know what the Game Gear does. Anyway, Martin, if you're out there watching, I love you, buddy. I'm just saying. For future reviews, I'm just saying. Star Wars by Capcom. Yes, you heard me right. By Capcom. for the Game Boy. 8 from Steve. I like this game for 2 reasons. First, it's a well produced and executed action adventure with challenge and nice graphics, considering the limitations of the Game Boy small screen. Secondly, I like the movie's storyline and find it a great motivator. All around super entry on any platform, portable or otherwise. Who remembers being a Star Wars fan in 1992? Star Wars fans affectionately used to call 85 to 95 the dark times. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in present day 2024, we call being a Star Wars fan the dark times. It was called the dark times because there wasn't anything coming out for Star Wars apart from novels. This is where the rich expanded universe came from. So from 85 to 95, pretty much all novels. And then, of course, in 95, toy wise, we got the Kenner relaunch of the Power of the Force 2 figures that absolutely changed once again the way the toy industry worked. A friggin' movie from 1977 has toys in the toy store aisles in 1995. It was unheard of. Once again, Star Wars fever exploded. Then we got the special editions, and the rest is history. But this game came out during the dark times. So anyway, my long-winded point to all this is that for Steve to say, I like the story, it's very motivating. To us, that's just like life. But I guess back in 1992, maybe Star Wars wasn't as iconic as it is now. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, yeah. We're in the dark times now. And I think even if you are a Disney Star Wars fan, you have to see what's going on, right? Yeah, I would go back to the expanded universe any day. And I remember, in the 90s, reading some of the novels and really turning my nose up at most of them because they weren't wrote by George. And George always, would lend out the license to the authors and stuff like that. But always said at any time, if I want to do a story on whoever, let's say Boba Fett, I can just simply wipe away anything you've wrote. So reading all these stories that weren't done by George were entertaining, but always in the back of my mind, I knew that someday, hopefully, George would be back. And we saw what happened with Boba Fett. Boba Fett in the expanded universe is a completely different character than what George wrote him to be. I still think that the character, listen to me, here we go, Star Wars talk, here we go. I still think that the character of Jango Fett and him being the center of the clone army was all done because George had new technology and he wanted to show us what Boba Fett could do, because Boba Fett was such a beloved character that really took off in the expanded universe. That's where he really gained his footing, right? With Tales from Jabba's Palace, all those Tales books, the comic books. So I think George got all this new technology. He's like, well, now I can really make Boba Fett fly around and shoot his missiles, and it looks really cool. And it's not just a guy on a wire. That's just my personal opinion. I think that's why we got Jango Fett. But the Timothy Zahn trilogy kicked off the Star Wars resurgence in books. Yeah, those were great. Those were great. And remember when rumblings of the sequel trilogy started happening, shortly after George sold Indiana Jones and Star Wars to Disney, we all thought that we were going to get the Zahn trilogy, which I think we were all kind of hoping for. Now, of course, we're getting that with Dave Filoni. He's like kind of rewriting almost the Zahn trilogy, where it's kind of the same, but he's kind of putting in his characters. I don't know. The difference between real canon and canon is cash. Yeah. It's such a mess now that we, wake up, like there was a time when, how do I say this? We knew that George's stuff was always safe, right? Even when he sold it to Disney, we all thought there's no way they're going to mess with the movies. At least those are safe. And then we started to get those friggin' Disney TV shows, and they just broke all the canon, like Obi-Wan, and then it's just like that's when I really turned, because I was defending Last Jedi, defending Rise of Skywalker. I get that they were trying to make it safe, at least with Force Awakens, but then when they broke the canon, you kind of throw your arms up, right? It's like, I can't defend this anymore, man. I can't. Like, you have writers that have, in my opinion, no footing. Like, to be a writer on Star Wars, you need to know the backstories. You need to at least friggin' watch the movies. Oh, God, here we go. It's a Star Wars rant. It's a Star Wars rant. What have I done? Okay, we're turning the page. I'm not even reading Martin's. We're turning the page. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Oh, we're not done. Night Quest by Taito. What is Night Quest? We'll cut through. We haven't had a good Star Wars rant in a while. You either die the hero or you live long enough to become the villain. Yeah. Every good show runs out of ideas, right? Look at all your, what are some shows you guys love? I love Seinfeld, The Office, Dexter are probably three of my favorite modern-ish shows. And in my opinion, those all ended poorly and they all fizzled out. But it's tough to keep that going, you know what I mean? It's tough to constantly write and come up with new ideas. So, Mr. Urban World, how you doing? I plan on doing a lot of retro gaming in VR this Christmas on the big screen. No way. What games are you playing? Hey, Arnold, are you afraid of the dark? All good shows. Yeah. I don't think I've seen any of those. But hey, that's just me, though. You have Night Quest from Taito. Oh, nice. Okay. Well, let's see here. Okay, let me finish this thought first. Okay, so give me some of your favorite shows. Did they fizzle out? Like, for those of you who watch Dexter, I think it's like a universal opinion that show ended terribly. The last bunch of seasons weren't the greatest. I think the U.S. Office was brutal, like the last 4 seasons. Seinfeld, I think once Larry David left, wasn't as good. These are just my opinions, but I don't know, Cutthroat, would you say Knight Rider and A-Team fizzled out? Did they? Highlander final season was not good. Okay. Firefly is one of the few shows that never fizzled. Did not have a chance to fizzle. Okay. Dragon Ball Z, Team 4 Star was the perfect amount of DBZ. It ended at the perfect time. Baywatch fizzled. I'll take your word on that one. A-Team, Matt says A-Team and Knight Rider fizzled because they added too many new tropes. The show's lost focus. Yeah. You got to add those new elements, right? But again, we've talked about comic books too. And one reason I stopped reading comic books because it got so crazy. And then, the whole Spider-Verse thing happened in the 90s and I just lost complete interest because I realized that you have to try new things for these characters that have been around since the 60s in Spider-Man's case. I get that. But when you introduce so many, like Matt's talking about, so many different elements that it completely changes the show, like a multiverse, which as I still think is just lazy writing. Multiverse introduces the concept of zero consequence. So if a character, I don't know, I'm just going to throw characters I like. Spider-Man fights Daredevil, and Daredevil beats Spider-Man. Wink, wink. He beats him. He throws him off a building. Spider-Man's dead. Well, then a couple of other superheroes can just get Doctor Strange and open a portal and go into a multiverse where Daredevil is like a clerk at a grocery store and like change the way things happen in our universe. I just think it's so dumb. It's so boring because there's zero consequence to anything anymore. The one thing I will say with Star Wars, not counting the Disney shows, but I will say that when somebody died in Star Wars, they were gone. And I'm not talking about Force ghosts. That I get. That makes sense. But they were gone. Even in Rise of Skywalker, when Rey is sitting there facing Palpatine again, right? And she's one-on-one with Palpatine, you hear all the Jedi voices. And there was something in me that's like, oh my God, wouldn't it be so amazing if like Mace, Yoda, Luke, if they all somehow like were there to help her? But they don't. So you can say what you want about Rise of Skywalker, something like that. There's a big opportunity for them to break. They didn't break it. Do you know what I mean? So when somebody dies in Star Wars, they're gone. And I guess maybe that's just like what I was used to as a kid, right? It was like there was real consequences. Like Luke lost his arm. He lost his hand. Sorry. And he got a robot one, sure, but he still lost his hand. Do you know what I mean? Superheroes, it's like, oh, if something happens, we can just go into the multiverse portal and blah, blah, blah. A few events and it never happened. It's just boring, dude. The best dialogue ever wrote in Star Wars. Somehow Palpatine returned. Could you, hey, Poe, come here, Poe, come here. Could you do us a favor? Could you take maybe 2 minutes out of this like 3,000-hour movie and tell us how he returned? How did Palpatine return? I don't know. Somehow he just returned. Okay. Somehow I have to fix what right. Yeah. He had the biggest janitor's broom in the entire galaxy. HGC, 100%. Him and Lawrence made all these characters, love them or hate them. They still created all these characters. And then Ryan tore them all down. Snoke's going to be the new emperor. Nah. Let's kill him before the halfway point of my movie. He's gone. Kylo Ren's masked. He idolizes Vader. Nah. Let's take that helmet and just break it. He doesn't need that. He's got the Sith robes with the hood. Nah. We're going to give him a cape this one. Anyway. I'm sorry, guys. Star Wars gets me going. His hand stayed dead. To be fair, they probably didn't know how Palpatine returned. I know, man, but you'd think like was Leia gone by then in the story? I can't remember. I think I've only seen it 3 times. I saw it twice in the theater and I bought it on Blu-ray, and I think I've only watched it once. So I can't remember. Is Princess Leia gone by then? By the time Palpatine returns, or no? Does anybody remember or give a care? HEC says, I know Abrams has his critics, but I don't think anyone could have polished that turd that was The Last Jedi. Can never unsee Luke getting the green space breast milk. Yeah. I wonder, is that Ryan's attempt at comedy? That whole scene? I don't know. Welcome to the last, the Star Wars therapy session that has derailed the EGM reads. All I do know is this, HGC, is you had one of the greatest endings in any Star Wars movie, which was The Force Awakens. I've said this sentence probably a million times on streams, but I'll say it again. Like Ray, like Daisy Ridley and Mark Hamill had tears in their eyes in that last scene, and she doesn't say a word. She just hands him Anakin's blade, and we all know she's saying, "Please help us." It's the fucking best ending. It's so good. And then Ryan comes up with The Last Jedi, and like all of a sudden, Mark Hamill's acting like John Ritter. And he's like throwing the lightsaber and he's acting all wacky, and even his hair is all weird and it doesn't look right. I know, dude. I'm sorry. Average Gamer's keeping me in check here. You're right. Dude, I'm like you guys, Star Wars is right here. It's in my heart. And you know what we've had to go through as Star Wars fans the last 5 years has been incredibly traumatic. So sometimes, it hurts, right? Sometimes the wound gets opened up a bit. Those old tropes in comics, didn't you die? I got better. Yeah, it's dumb, Den. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. All right, King's Quest or Night Quest, sorry, by Taito. Steve gave it a 6. This is a fun little game with a lot of different goals to complete. The RPG overtones are really diluted, however, by the unnecessary amount of fighting that is thrown in. The pace of the game crawls through these stages and made me wish there was a button I could push to go past to continue on the quest. Excuse me. And 5 from Martin. I keep going to Sushi X. 5 from Martin. A role-playing game for a portable system is not exciting for me. The concept is very basic, and there's not much that is original or spectacular here. The 4 styles of attack get old, and frequent attacks by the enemy make the game very repetitive. Not a bad game, but nothing extraordinary. All right, you guys want to continue this? Let's continue this. I think she was still technically alive because she gave her life. No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, did she lie on the bed and was she gone before or after Palpatine came? I can't remember the sequence of events because she does that when Kylo gets stabbed, right? Or doesn't she interferes, right? So Rey can get that stab in? I don't even know, man. That fight was cool though, man. On like the Death Star with the water waves, and that was awesome. It was a good idea. The films needed a story runner to keep the dum-dums in line. Well, how can you? Yeah, I agree. How can you mess that up? The biggest franchise in history, in film history. How can you not have the two directors talk to each other? Like, that's a crime. That's a crime, man. I'm taking your advice, Jay Bartlett. Star Wars are not what? I'm taking your advice, Jay Bartlett. Star Wars is not Star Wars anymore. I mean, it's not really advice. It's my opinion. But what I think is that George's Star Wars is like what we love. And maybe it's just time that we accept that it's not for us anymore. I made a video about this, right? The next generation of Star Wars, maybe it's not for us. Like the Acolyte and stuff like that. I don't know. I heard what's the new one called? With Jude Law? Is it Jude Law's in it? Ghost Crew? Skeleton Crew? I heard that's all right. It's a kids show, which I think is really cool because they made it for kids. Skeleton Crew, thank you. At least they're saying, yes, this is a kids show, right? It's not this confusing mess of like, what is this supposed to be? It's like The Crow 1994. None of the others ever happened. Oh, did that really happen? Was that the one with Furlong again? Pinball Jam for the links. 6. I'm going to read this like Blur. Having 2 games on one card is I can't do it. Having 2 games on one card is an interesting play and it works. It doesn't work for me. The 2 games are that was 6. And then Martin also gives it a 6. No one cares about Pinball Jam for the Atari, do they? I found the pinball translation to fall short in many areas. I like having two different machines to choose from. The gameplay is good, but the playing field is too busy. The music is your typical annoying Link's bleeps, but the digitized sounds and voices make up on that end. Good try, but in the end, it's above average. Hey, and I'm going to give respect to the Atari Lynx and to Steve. I was just kidding. Steve gives it a 6. Having two games on one card is an interesting play that works. Interesting ploy that works, and it doesn't work for me. The two titles on this game are both fun and leisurely in some sort of way, but the only real difference between the two is the name and layout of the field. Well, I think that's almost what all pinball is, isn't it? You basically get the same game, albeit an entertaining one, in two different suits. You think the Turbo Pinball, Alien Crush and Devil's Crush are the two on Turbo. They are good. Speaking moistly, good morning. Nicotronus is here as well. Good morning. Skeleton Crew, the show about Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. Hey. Guys, we got 2 Lynx reviews this month. This is exciting. Shadow of the Beast. Microphone. 7 from Steve. This game is well executed and has some dark, but nonetheless expensive graphics. It remains faithful to the look and feel of the source material from which it's taken. The adventure is nice, although the level of interaction between player and game was a bit on the slim side for me. Still, a nice looking and playing game. And Martin also gives it a 7. Now this is how a portable game should be. The graphics are incredible for the little screen it's on. The gameplay is very good and the levels are laid out a little different from the original computer version. On the downside, the music is not up to par with its so-called 32-bit sound chip buried somewhere inside the Lynx. Guys, this is probably the most dull bunch of game reviews that I think we've ever seen. And that's not on EGM. That's on just this month in October of 1992. I mean, wow. Boring. I'm telling you, look at the new layout for the present games that are coming out in October of 1992. It's a little busy for me, actually. I kind of like the old way. But here we go. We got some Lethal Weapon for the NES guys. Look right here. Little Samson. Oh, it's so awesome. Little Samson came out in October of 1992. Awesome. Dragon Warrior 4 is coming out this month. Adventure Island 3. Panic Restaurant. Panic Restaurant and Little Samson are both top 5 NES games. They're both made by Taito, and they both came out in October. So cool. Super Nintendo, we got, Mystic Quest. I remember I had that. What else do we got here? Buster Brothers, Super Double Dragon. Oh, Super Star Wars. The first in the trilogy of those hard side scrollers for the Super NES. Chad's favorite game, Space Megaforce, is coming out. Space Mega Nothings. Speaking of Marvel, Spider-Man, The Return of the Sinister Six. And then we got Alien 3. Man, this is old school, dudes. I've only this year just recently watched Alien 1 and 2. I didn't know Alien 3 came out in 1992. I thought it was much newer than that. You have Wings 2 from Namco. It's challenging. What is Wings 2? I'm trying to think of the game, dude. I can't picture it. Did we read that review? I don't think we did. It's challenging. I'm gonna look into it. I love myself a good challenge. TurboGrafx has Air Zonk coming out. What a month. Dead Moon, Ghost Manor, Prince of Persia, and Shapeshifter. The Neo Geo has one game. World Heroes. World War II biplane game. Oh, okay. Okay. Pandarum, right. Okay. Anyone else? Mr. Urban says, anyone else here a fan of SNK? I'm big into Metal Slug. Oh, yeah, mate. I love the Neo Geo. Yeah, I got mine in the 90s with Baseball Stars and what was the other game I had? Oh, Magician Lord. SNK is a fantastic developer, and the Neo Geo is top notch. Do you remember, like back in the day, man? If I've said this a million times too, but if somebody had a Neo Geo growing up back in the day, woohoo! You were rich, man. It's my first time on the stream, and I'm already feeling nostalgic. I used to bring my Game Gear to elementary school. Shocked I never got into trouble. Hey, well, welcome on in, mate. I stream Wednesday through Sunday. Sunday is usually a chill one, just like this. Usually it's gameplay, but today, every Sunday we do EGMs. So yeah, man, welcome on into the community. It's good to have you here. Neo is no joke. Games are way too expensive. They are too expensive back then and now. Yep, 100% agree. I only ever had 4 games for it, which I got rid of since. I still have the console. The AES, yeah, I still have the cart-based console, and I have the gold one that came out in the mid-2000s. Never had a Neo CD, though. Urban World, Neo CD, remember that? Dude, that's the thing of Legends. That crashed so hard because the majority of the SNK games coming out at the time were fighters, and the loading times for the Neo CD were so brutal. But anyway, EGM's top 10s. This is new. This is brand new. Top 10 rank and month. Okay, so there's your number 1. So let's go to the NES. Number 1 is Yoshi. On the Super Nintendo, the game of the month is, of course, Street Fighter 2, which is probably, I'm guessing, going to win Game of the Year in 92. Genesis is Evander Holyfield Boxing. Wow. Interesting. I like this. Babbage's. Oh, my heart. My heart. America's Software Headquarters. The information below is provided by Babbage's and is current as of August 14th, 1992. Den with the 1 gifted. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Congrats to Endless Fables. Welcome on in. Again, remember, if you guys are channel members, you can come on to the streams here, read EGMs with us, and of course, on our community days, you can join for gameplay. Yesterday, we had a 12-hour stream of Fortnite, and we had many, many community members come in and out, and it was just an absolute blast. Babbage's shirts. Oh, dude. Can somebody look that up? Cutthroat, you're the eBay guy. Can you look up a Babbage's, like, just like an old retail shirt? Oh, I would kill for one of those. Even like a t-shirt that just had the logo would be sweet. I like this. The top 10 for the editors here. Number 1 Super Nintendo title continues to be blistering the thumbs of our Fab 4. Yeah, this is cool. So Street Fighter, Star Wars, hockey. I like that. This is a great new section they've added. I totally forgot about it. Totally forgot. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's the quarter, man. The hardest read of the whole magazine. Look at this. Look at the first paragraph. Oh my God. So, Quarterman, the best in the business, always brings us the rumors that are almost always true. Holy cow, this is a lot. I don't know if I'm going to read this first one. Let's maybe go to the second one. What do you think? When Willie Lowe comes back in January for the reads, then we're going to read the whole Quarterman. But that's a lot. That's a lot. Oh, HGC, you were listening in? Yeah. Dude, it was fun. I don't know if you were here. We were talking about that. The last match we're doing quads. the last match we did no weapons. So we just had our pickaxes. So we found an old house that was kind of in the middle of the circle, and I just built up all these walls and we kind of just stood still in it. We got second place, man. Couldn't believe it. That was fun. We got to do that again. Okay, here we go. Paragraph 2. Look who's made the big time. Sonic the Hedgehog. The Mammoth of Mirth has penned a deal with the White Shirts at ABC to star in his own television show this fall. While the Q-Man has dug up, things remain sketchy. What we do know is that the show will be aimed, and current plans, Jesus, have the blurred blue one beaming into the airwaves for a one-shot primetime slot. Sources hinted that it could lead to a regular engagement in the same time period, or possibly a move to the controversial Saturday morning hours for the one-on-one with the Big N's own mascot, Mario. Don't look to the Q-Meister to visualize this one, quarter freaks. I'll admit it's nice. It's a nice idea, but I just don't see it. Oh, man, this is rough. Don't be surprised if you see Truxton 2 hitting game systems soon. I love his thoughts, just like go from one to the other. I'm sure a lot of us, like, I think this way too, right? You have this one train of thought, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I could use a popsicle now. Anyway, don't be surprised if you see Truxton 2 hitting game systems soon. The game is eating up the Japanese arcade charts and is reportedly so good it could eventually dethrone Street Fighter 2. Truxton, for those of you who don't know, is a top-down space shooter. I hate to tell you, but I don't think it's going to dethrone Street Fighter. More news from Terry Akai in Japan's Super Mario 2, America's revamped version of the Famicom classic. What? Laserdisc is now set up to make a second appearance in the Land of the Rising Sun as Super Mario USA. Give me a break. So that they're talking about the Japanese version of Mario 2 that never came to North America. Rumors of it coming out, and eventually we know that does make an appearance on Super Mario All-Stars for Super Nintendo. Yeah, I remember the Sonic TV show. Remember that? I did watch that. Cutthroat, no, Babbage's. Yeah, there you go. Listing for Babbage's t-shirt, 1990 vintage, $9. What? Oh, $9 shipping. It's $119. Yeah, that's about right. Didn't Steve Urkel voice Samus? Maybe. The long-awaited and much talked about Super Mario movie is finally becoming a reality. Oh my God. The Q-Man's Hollywood sources have discovered that Bob Hoskins from Who Framed Roger Rabbit fame has been marked to man Mario for the big screen. Another big-name star set to play in the video game come to life is Dennis Hopper. Quarterman doesn't know his role yet, but he's fit for the Psycho Luigi part. Universal Soldier? Give me a break. The video game version of this Sorry Summer Turkey is really Turrican 2 in disguise. I don't understand any of those jokes. But we, of course, know that Dennis Hopper plays Koopa and looks weird. Trust the fungus. Oh, God. He was Bowser, yeah, but not even Quarterman knew back then. Like, well, who else do you think he was going to be? Like, not you, but I mean Quarterman. Like, who did you think he was going to be? Did you really think that Dennis Hopper was going to be Luigi? Come on. And for a parting shot, the Q-Man would like to applaud Spectrum, Holobyte, and Sega for finally taking the initiative to warp the next generation of Star Trek onto video game and CD-ROM screens. I can't wait to play them, but I also can't wait for the answers left in the 5th season's ho-hum finale. Bring back the Borg. Bring back the Borg. I'll put my money on Data. Sorry, my bad. Sorry, Trex. My bad. I'll put my money on Data and his what? Respective head to turn out to actually be lore. What? The evil and twisted psycho brother of everyone's favorite android. Pull out the cellophane because this wraps up the installment Quarterman page. Yeah, this is talking about a whole lot of Star Trek Next Gen lore that I don't know, so we're going to need Matt to translate on that one. Translate, please. HGC, I always said, like, wouldn't it be cool? Just imagine this, going back to Mario Brothers, the movie. You know how Smash Brothers for the Switch is like, they're just pulling some really, really big hipster picks, like the Mega Man 1 North American box art Mega Man as a playable character. Wouldn't it be cool as if they made DLC in Mario Kart where you could be Captain Lou Mario and friggin' Bob Hoskins Mario, and the same with Bowser. You could be Dennis Hopper. How cool would that be, man? Like, embrace it. Don't be embarrassed of it. It's a piece of gaming history. Is the movie terrible? Absolutely. But embrace it, man. Let's get that stuff going. Let's go. Just have them as DLC, right? The optional DLC that you can buy, like you can buy the other characters if you want. I think that would be good. But I don't think that's going to happen. Kim was talking about how the end of season 3, start of season 4 was so good because of Picard being assimilated. Oh, I remember that. Isn't he Locutus of Borg? I remember watching that. I remember going to my grandpa's house at night for whatever reason with my mom, and he was watching it on TV. And I didn't watch Star Trek Next Generation until after it was off the air, until it was like syndicated. But I remember him watching it and being like, everyone was like, oh my God, like Captain Picard is like basically dead, right? Or like he was presumed like gone. He was now Locutus, right? I thought that was a pretty cool idea. The Dr. Jones Chronicles starring Data. I would agree with that. EGM tests the Sega CD games. What is this? The Wonder Mega combines the Genesis and Sega CD all in one. Oh, this thing's awesome. I want one of these for my collection. Anyone remember Sherlock Holmes? In the great digital pictures full motion video of 1992? I certainly do. Look at it. Look at this here, right? So this is an ad for Power Punch 2. I'm going to say, listen, first off, I can't draw at all. I cannot. But I'm just saying, come on, man. Look at this ad. Someone actually looked at this and was like, yeah, 90% of the page for our new game, Power Punch 2, that's featuring not Mike Tyson, is going to be this purple, awful, terrible drawing. Let's put it up there. Let's go. I found a Sega CD at a secondhand store for $50 and a whole bunch of games. The one with Sherlock. Yeah? Was it the first or the second Sega CD, do you know? And no? Either way, that's a hell of a deal. Even if the Sega CD doesn't work, it's still just cool to have it. Turbo Technologies Incorporated readies the Turbo Duo rollout. So this was, again, the last gasp of the TurboGrafx when NEC had jumped ship and it was Hudson left to carry all the weight. They thought it's a really good idea to redesign, and I guess this was their attempt at staying relevant given that the Super Nintendo CD-ROM was supposed to be out. Genesis had a CD-ROM attachment. They spent the last of their bucks redesigning the TurboGrafx to incorporate the TurboGrafx CD and the Hue card into one unit. And this is it. The Turbo Duo. This is, I think, the PC Engine Duo or a prototype. I don't know. I'm not reading this right now. Rondo of Blood was so good. Yeah, we never got it here though. But I agree. You were playing that not too long ago. So good. Yep, Turbo go bye-bye. And again, I don't know a ton about the PC Engine library, but I see Final Fight here. Oh, wait, man. Wait, I think, no, sorry, this is different. This is the Sega CD version of Final Fight, which was like an almost perfect translation of the arcade port, by the way, actually. Thank you. Okay, we're going to speed it up a little bit. So if there's anything that you guys see, any ads or articles you want to talk about, please feel free to just shout it out in the chat and we'll go back to it. Shout out to NHL. Oh, I say that, and we're already stopped here for the second issue in a row. We've heard this mysterious new fighting game coming out with digitized characters, simply titled Mortal Kombat. And combat has a K instead of a C. Hot on the heels of the recent hits like Total Carnage, the boys at Bally Midway have created a new smart bomb with the potential to lay other fighting games, even Street Fighter 2, to waste. Mortal Kombat makes a radical departure from the normal fare by using live actors to play the parts of the combatants, which I got to say, man, still was an absolutely incredible move. And, you know, I'm in the camp of Street Fighter. I always was. That does not mean I don't like Mortal Kombat, but I'm just saying it was really, really smart for Boone to do that. For John and Ed to do that, to make it digitized, to make it completely different than Street Fighter in almost every way. Very, very smart. Dude, do I remember? Yes. When I started doing gaming content on the channel 2 years ago, one of the first streams I did like this was talking about Mortal Monday. And my buddy and I, we had by our high school, this is bad, but we had a jumbo video by our high school. And we friggin' skipped a lot, but we skipped Mortal Monday. And he rented the Genesis version. I rented the Super Nintendo version of the game. Like, Mortal Monday was huge, man. I do remember that. It was a big, big deal when Mortal Kombat came to the home. Look at this. Here's all your first info for Mortal Kombat. Some of the characters are martial arts experts, procured for their fighting skills. I think that's cool. Weren't the majority actors, though? Yeah, the popcorn and the smell. There's still one in town, dude. In London, way out on Adelaide. And no word of a lie. You walk into it, and it's like the early 90s again. They still have the popcorn machine, and they still have like the poster here. On the right wall when you walk in of movies that are coming out. You can buy and rent. It's crazy, man. You got to check out Jumbo. It's still there. Still there. King of Monsters. Oh, here's a Turbo. Oh, here's an ad for Turbo. Not a great ad, but here it is. TTI, Turbo Technologies Incorporated. We got the Hudson B. Hudson hanging on for dear life. Santini, thank you very much for the sub. Appreciate that, my friend. If you're here, welcome on in. Oh, the Game Doctor. We're going to skip the Game Doctor, guys, I'm afraid. We got 200 pages to get to. Cutthroat, what are you doing putting this into the slides? Like, do you think that's funny? Do you think this is a big funny joke you're doing right over here? I don't appreciate it. Mods, get on that guy. Oh, here's this thing again. The Turbo Touch. We made fun of this a couple issues ago. Why have a friggin' pesky D-pad? Right? Why have a D-pad? You don't need a D-pad. Take that D-pad right off and just use nothing. I can't imagine playing any game where you just slide. Like, you guys remember the NES Max? How it had this circle And then there was the red plastic thumb holder that would move with your thumb. You were still touching something. That made sense, right? But just to have like a sensor, I don't know. Is that his name now? He's got to approve it, man. He's got to approve. Final Fantasy V. Which one is this? Oh, it's 3, right? No, this isn't. Is this 3? I don't know. I can never remember the Japanese Final Fantasy numbers compared to the US. Oh, it's just 5. Okay. Was this the one with the blue mage? I remember playing the one with the blue mage in one of the Origins collections for PS1 that never came here. Hey, Dale, how you doing? Sorry, I'm choking here. Woo! Good to see you, man. Happy Sunday. The Super System plays its last pixel. Oh, no. Listen, I'm telling you guys right now, for Christmas, all I want is this. Friends, this right here, the super graphics. I got to tell you, insert world's smallest violin music here. This is a console I've been chasing my entire life. Much like the Neo Geo CD, this is called the Super Graphics, and it only has 6 games. It came out in Japan. The reason why I wanted this so much, obviously, because it's like a little more obscure, but it had an almost arcade perfect port of Ghouls and Ghosts. I've chased this system my entire life. Does anybody even know what this is? I've never seen one my entire life. Ed, thank you very much for the sub. And Raul, thanks, guys. If you're here, welcome on in. Appreciate that. Anyway, I will take it by your silence that nobody knows what the Super Graphics is. That's fine. Super CD-ROM version of Strider for the PC Engine is greatly enhanced. Remember the Gibraltar flea market rented video games? The Gibraltar flea market, for everyone in the chat, is in our town, London here. It's a flea market that's only open on Saturday and Sundays. I remember Average Gamer, I think it was called Game Mania, that was in Gibraltar. The last time I was there was when we were shooting Nintendo Quest. It was one of the only booth we went to because Dave, who worked there, he had a surplus of NES boxes that he brought just for us for the shoot. So I could pick out, and I did buy some boxes, even though I didn't have to. I did buy some boxed games there. But I haven't been to Gibraltar since 2013. That 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Josh is saying that there's another vendor there now that's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, P90. It only had 6 games total. It's called the Super Graphics. Yeah, I know, dude. It's up there, right? What's it, 5? 5 US? That's the problem, right? I could go on eBay. Yeah. And I mean, that's always an option, right? But I mean, like in all my travels, Cutthroat, every store I've been to, shooting the different docks, I've never, ever seen one. Never seen one. All the stores Will and I have gone to, the stores I've gone into on my own, I've never seen a Super Graphics. I'm guessing it's 500. It was, in my opinion, the best deal renting games. Get games for a week, even new releases. I don't remember that at all, but that is a good deal. 100%. That's a very good deal. Yeah, because they're closed, right? So you wouldn't even be able to return it. And if you really think about it logically, even if you were late, no one's even going to be there anyway, right? So you might as well keep it for a week, which is why they probably made it for a week. Yeah, that's a good deal. I miss renting games, guys. I do. I miss it a lot. I don't remember Play World either. Tricks of the Trade, we always skip. Yeah, I don't Play World. Oh, are you talking about Jumbo? What are you talking about? Jumbo, for those of you who don't know, so we're talking about Jumbo, like you guys know. Jumbo Video was like a Canadian video rental place, not unlike Blockbuster, that went away years ago. However, for whatever reason, there's still one in our hometown that is still very successful, the last of its kind, and you can go there. Do you remember when that Jumbo had the horror castle inside it? Do you remember that, dude? So the horror section of the movie store, and this store is huge, by the way. The horror section had like this mock-up haunted castle. Do you remember that? Because I do. And so does Pepperidge Farms. Skip in the tricks of the trade. You can take this controller and shove it up your lips. Nobody likes that. Here's the game mate that we make fun of, and the super brick. You wanted a Game Boy for Christmas? Average gamer? You had that Game Boy on your list? Well, guess what? We didn't get you a Game Boy. We got you the super brick. Or if you want to you want to interchange your games, like you wanted the Game Gear or the Turbo Express, forget it. You're going to get the Game Mate. How do you like that? These were what real gamers played back in the day. Oh yeah, yeah, the curtain. Yeah, the adult section, I remember. Yep. I remember even when I was like old enough, like when I was 18, I was still always scared to go back there. I never did. Yeah, there was the curtain. You remember that? Oh my God. Who had a video store that had an adult section in a separate room with just a curtain? Oh my God. Sorry, Next Wave. So again, games that may or may not come to North America here. It's always a good section. The curtain. Yep. But I don't know about you guys. I was terrified. Like I never even like opened the curtain and kind of like looked or anything. I was just like, yeah, I'm not. I know what's in there. I want to know what's in there, but I'm not going to peek behind that curtain. I always just pictured like creepy old dudes, right? And it's just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Grab some popcorn and walk across the red curtain. Oh, no, thank you. Super WrestleMania. Let's go. B-52. That's Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, I want to play this. I talk about the Sherlock Holmes game a lot, the one in the centered here. This is for the Sega CD. And I think it was for the Turbo CD as well. But this was like, again, because I didn't have a PC that could play any games. Anyone who did, this kind of thing wasn't a huge deal. But to me, like it was like huge. It's like, wow, I could play full motion video games on my Genesis. And the Sherlock Holmes games was like a system seller. That and Sewer Shark were system sellers for the Sega CD. Anyone want to play Home Alone on their Game Gear? You know, I was really kind of toying with the idea. I was thinking about Christmas games for this 12 days of gaming that we're doing. And I was, pulling out Home Alone on like Super Nintendo and stuff like that. It's so bad though. Like I couldn't do like a 4-hour stream of that. It's almost like unplayable. Look at this artwork here. Look how awesome this Konami artwork is. Oliver, what's up? How you doing? Jay, which of the three, let me get you up here. Jay, which of the three 80s and 90s handheld consoles had the best gameplay factor? Game & Watch, Game Boy. Oh, Tiger's last. Had the best gameplay. I would say Game Boy. Game and Watch and the Tiger games are similar, right? It's just a static screen that would like light up. The different panels would light up. Never liked any of that stuff. I have Mario's Cement Factory Game and Watch just to have one in the collection, to represent a Game and Watch, but never really enjoyed those. Did she HCC? Did she do that? I only remember John McEnroe like getting upset and like hucking his like he would like chuck his racket at other people, or if he like missed or whatever, he would like slam his racket down. Remember, he had like the hell of a temper. Out of This World was great, by the way. We're talking about rotoscoping animation last week. That was a game that used that peculiar, unusual type of animation. Shout out to Filmation. The winner and still champion, the Light Boy. When did we get a light in Game Boys? Does anybody remember? I'm trying to think. Game Boy Color, no. None of the Game Boy Pocket, no. Game Boy Advance did not. I think it was the SP, right? The SP was the first, the one that closed up like that. That was the first one to have the backlight. That was a game changer. You want the Game Boy trophy? Why is it this thing? Because the Light Boy, man, what they're trying to say, Indo, is that there's all these accessories that just clutter up your Game Boy, but the clear champion is the Light Boy, because you also get the magnifying boy right there. Fly by the seat of your pants. Nobody put the Game Boy in their back pocket. Nobody did. Nobody did. Come on. You're going to do that, then you're going to sit down by mistake, and it's just going to be a big mess. Here's your Mystic Quest. Final Fantasy. Look at this early, like, paint shop 3D graphics, the 3D font here. Yeah, this was interesting. This was, I remember playing Final Fantasy 2, and then I got this one for a gift, and I remember not liking it. It was, I don't know if it was like an easier version, but I just remember you could only have 2 people in your party. And after playing like Final Fantasy 2, I was just like, I didn't really understand it. I just wasn't a huge fan of this one. Dumbed down. Okay, yeah, it was like an easier version, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's cool. Like if you never played RPGs, yeah. I'm not clowning on people that have never played RPGs back in the day, right? But if you never played RPGs, this would have been like a great introduction to that whole style. But again, after playing like Phantasy Star 2 and Final Fantasy 2, which were 2 of my favorites, I played this and I was just kind of like, oh, this is a little rough. Dale says, I did own Double Dragon 3. I thought it was all right, but I have the complete collection on a modded Genesis cartridge and also a bunch of Double Dragon on my Xbox. Good game series, buddy. 100%. 100%. Did you play, Dale, remember last year we played, what was it, Double Dragon Neon? Did you ever play that? That one was really good. Look at all the Simpsons games. The old cartoon games that plagued the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. How many Ren and Stimpy games were there? How many Simpsons games? Beavis and Butthead. What else? What was the other one? So many of these games. Like the adult cartoon games. I didn't like any of them. Simpsons Arcade was good. Mega Man 5. Dragon Warrior 4. Sorry, I almost skipped over it. I know we have a lot of Dragon Warrior / Dragon Quest fans in the house. So here's the 4th one. And by far, the most expensive one on the NES. Especially if you're getting this guy CIB. Woo-hoo-hoo. It's going to cost you a pretty penny. Never really got into these, but I certainly do understand the love for Dragon Quest. This friggin' mic, man. For some reason, with this program, this mic quiets down. I don't know why it does that. It doesn't hold. Sorry, guys, hang on. It doesn't hold its volume. So when I raise my voice, it tries to cut it down. It takes it down a lot. Anyways, it's Dragon Warrior 4. What's the best? All you Dragon Warrior fans out there, you tell me. Let's do a poll. Christmas won our first poll. I want to know because I don't know much about Dragon Warrior. I'm just going to call it Dragon Warrior, okay? So, which is the best game? So these are Dragon Warrior. Let's do what, 1 through 4? Which is the best one? I'm just curious because I don't know. So you guys tell me. These are just of the NES ones. And this was Enix before they merged with Square. Old school. Moving on to Mega Man 5. It's all new to me. I was Mega Man'd out by the 4th one. Although I do appreciate and love all of Capcom's Mega Man stuff. Except for like, what was the battle ones on Game Boy? Those got a little weird. Like I liked 1 through, what is it, 11? I think I stopped playing after. I don't think I ever did play 8. 8 was on PS1, 7 was on Super Nintendo, 1 through 6 were on NES. Then we had 9 and 10 were digital only. And then 11 is PS4 and Xbox. Yeah. So I'm not very familiar with 4 and up. I remember picking up 6 in the States. Mega Man 6 in the States, probably like 94. I think that's when it came out. But I remember picking it up just because I didn't even know that was a thing coming out. And I grabbed it because I'm like, man, this is a cool collector's item, right? Mo, you're in a safe space, dude. You know that. Say whatever you like. We all respect each other's opinions. We can make fun of each other. It's all in fun. I know Matt and HGC are big fans of Dragon Warrior. I don't know which Dragon Warrior quest is best. I've only ever played the first one personally. I'm going to throw this mic out the window. Just a reminder that at 3 p.m. Eastern, I'm streaming 8-Bit Christmas on Discord and hanging out. All channel members are welcome for 80s nostalgia. So there you go. Dan, the moderator, making announcements. So anyone who wants to take part in that, if you are a channel member, you do get access to our private Discord where we do cool stuff like this. Again, all you have to do is be a base member. That's it. There are 3 different levels. Just throwing it out there. It's a way to support the channel, guys. So if you do want to do that, I do appreciate that. Okay, Mega Man 5. We got Wave Man, Star Man, Gyro Man, and Charge Man. Are we running out of ideas here? Are we? Throw the software out the window. This is a perfect time to plug my latest video. So let's do that. So for those of you who follow me, for those of you who don't follow me, I just posted a video on the history of Mega Man 2. This is my actual copy of Mega Man 2 here. I posted that on Friday. So, look at this shiny. There you go. So if you guys can check it out for me, let me know what you think if you're a fan of Mega Man. It was my favorite video I've ever made in my 4-year career on YouTube here. So make sure you check it out right after. It was a lot of fun to make. But that being said, I don't really know much about Mega Man 5. So I think I owe it to myself and to you guys to maybe do a stream where we check out the 6th Mega Man. What do you think? I think that'd be fun. Mega Man 6 has cooler bosses. Okay. And that has the Robo suit. I know. Roll is no, not Roll. What's the dog's name again? Rush is introduced in 3. We get the items. We get the beam in the first one. We get the 3 items in the second one. And 3 has Rush, where he kind of does the same thing as the 3 items. 6 has the armor, like the mech parts that you can add on to Mega Man, right? But what does 4 and 5 have? Oh, yeah, 3 has a slide. Yeah. 4 has a mega shot. 3 has a slide. Okay. Do it. Do what must be done. Show no mercy. Do not hesitate. Mega cool. Mega Man 5. Yeah, see, I've heard this too. And I rented 7. Don't remember anything about it. And that was kind of it. So again, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have a sealed 11 that I got from work. But I think, yeah, I think I need to go through this. Goal 2, you like that one? I think Cutthroat wants to change the subject from Mega Man. That's it. Now you got to go watch the video twice, Cutthroat. What is this in here for? You could get this at Big Wheel Venture and Meyer. This is a football. Oh yeah, this is the football for those of you who don't actually want to learn to play football the proper way. You can get a sticky glove that will catch it. Oh, here you go, Sonic fans. You want Super Mario, but that plays awful? Look no further than Sonic the Hedgehog. Here he is. Right, we talked about that last week, yeah. Football, I think it's weird though. Like, you don't have to be like a on the road to be an NFL player. I get that, but I still think you should still learn to catch a football yourself, right? Oh, you're welcome, buddy. We got a giveaway, guys. We got Assassin's Creed Origins, and we have a copy of Electronic Gaming Monthly number 198 here that we are giving away. Do you want to do that now? We can do that now. I'm going to ask you guys what you prefer. When we do giveaways and we're doing 12 days of gaming, okay, so all the way up until Christmas Eve, we're going to be giving away, thanks to our sponsor at Game Cycle here in London, for shout out to John for giving us all this stuff to give away to you guys. It's part of my appreciation to show you guys and to tell you thank you and to hopefully make your Christmas a little bit better. We're going to give these away right now. Do you prefer trivia, or do you prefer the first person to answer the question gets it? You tell me what you prefer now, because I already have the question that we're going to do. Oh, you're welcome, buddy. You're welcome. The first person to answer trivia, either one. 3 completely different answers from 3 different people. Should we do a poll? I think that's the only fair way. Okay, so Dragon Warrior 1 is the winner, with Dragon Warrior 2 getting 0 votes. We're quickly going to do the poll. TJC, good morning, my friend. How are you? Wonderful to see you in this stream. Okay, so this'll settle it for all. First to answer trivia. You guys pick, okay? So the trivia would be you get to answer once. And if you get the answer right, then we do a random dice roll. That's how I've been doing it. I don't know another way to do it. But you guys vote right now, please. And we'll give Assassin's Creed Origins away for PS4 and the EGM. They will all be signed. I sign all my stuff. And because we have a Canadian postal strike right now, it'll be kept here nice and safe for you. But I don't know when it's going to go out. I still have stuff that have to go out from the 30K stream. Still, the strike happened. That's how long ago it happened. It happened like the day after we did the 30K. Origins does not have Black Flag. It's just Origins. It's supposed to be done this week? Okay, good. Yeah, and that's the thing. Wake up. Yeah, there's lag. So Matt says, I kind of like trivia because it's a chance to learn something, but I'm really not gonna participate due to winning one already. Every day is a new day, my friend. So please, you can participate. It's your choice. Just if we're doing like, the milestone streams and we're giving multiple things away, I just ask that people have won, can kindly sit out so everyone gets a little piece of the pie. Yeah, dude, 1 month. 1 month. Okay, let's see. Trivia 64%. Okay. Okay. We're going to do trivia then. Are you guys ready? So, for a copy of Assassin's Creed Origins, you guys know what that looks like, but you might not know what this looks like. So, this is Electronic Gaming Monthly number 198. Oh my God, look at this cover. Okay. Can you spot the ultimate cool? What on this cover is amazing? Some might get it, some might not. This, I'm just guessing by the cover, is from 2006. Does this look familiar to anybody? Yep, P90 got it. Yep, Indo. The original PS3 controller, remember it was called the Boomerang. It kind of looked like Batman's Boomerang. I don't know, and I can't remember why they changed the design. Look at that. That is so cool, man. Just see if we can find anything super awesome in here. Oh, I think I just passed something. Hang on. Yeah, there's the Boomerang. Call of Duty 2. There's shout out to JP. There's double O agents. And then there it is. Look at this. Look at that. Gearing up for battle, the next generation of consoles. Do you guys like that design? The one thing I kind of do like about PlayStation was that they have kept the same kind of the same design, more or less, right? It's kind of uniform. It's kind of cool, right? You know what I mean? Should have kept the concept, bring it back. Wouldn't that be cool for like the whatever 20th or 30th anniversary of like the PS3 if they released like limited edition Boomerang controllers? Oh man, I would so go for that. Okay, you guys ready? So we're gonna do trivia. Please answer only once, and then we're gonna do a random roll for the winner for a copy of Assassin's Creed on PS4 that will be signed and EGM 198. In this issue of EGM that we're reading right now, please, whoever's reading along, do not turn back. What was the game of the month? What was the game of the month from this current issue of EGM? And if you weren't here during then, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Get here sooner. Get here sooner. You guys are awesome. I'm glad you're liking the Sunday chill EGM reads. I really, really do look forward to them. They're a lot of fun. I wasn't paying attention. Dude, I love you. You're just so blunt and honest. I love it. You're like, I don't care. Jesse is here. What's up, buddy? Wonderful to see you. There's Mario twins. They look so damn the same. The answer, of course, is Mario Paint. The answer is Mario Paint. Big rigs. Okay, we're going to get our random D20 out. So whoever said Mario Paint, you are correct. Now we're going to roll the dice, baby. We're going to roll the dice. Amazing. Where are we here? What? Yeah. Boom. The dice was 1. There you go. And no nerd, congratulations. My friend, you have won a copy of Assassin's Creed Origins and EGM 198, thanks to our pals at Game Cycle on Warncliffe Road. Write you down here. No rush on that, but please hit me up on socials, okay? However you can, so I can get information on where to send that, when we can send it out. So congrats, mate. And guys, do me a favor, everybody in the chat now, make sure you're sub to Game Cycle and make sure you follow them on socials, okay? John's a good dude, and they've been really good to us over the years, especially like Nintendo Quest and with my channel and stuff like that. So it's the least we can do for them. Giving us just all this stuff for free, man. So great. All right, we're moving on. Back to Sonic. Won't get here till 2026. All right, mods, ban Cutthroat. I've had enough. No, I'm just kidding. Matt's got his hand on the band wrench, and Den's got his finger on the other one. They're both like, "Said not my fault, man. It's not my fault they're on strike." Okay, Indo, yeah, that sounds great. Cool, man. Okay. And again, like, because I go with the screen names, okay? So just make sure you say if it's a different name or not, just make sure you say who you are, kind of thing. I lose track of people so easily. Okay, we're moving on. Cobra Command. Oh, that's a Sega CD one. Yeah, I really got to bust out the Sega CD. I feel like we should also do a stream of like all the full motion video games. Modding you and Will right now. Oh, I see. So Will can Will can stream, but he can't do the EGMs. Oh, I thought he was working. Oh well, whatever. All good, man. He's still doing his streamathon, isn't he? All good. Where are we? 173. Okay. Yeah, I think this is one of those import stores again. As we get closer to like the end of the EGMs, we always get these really, really cool stores that's had all the import, the Art Vandalay import export stores. Oh yeah, dude, I'm teasing. He said he was out until January, so it's all good, man. Willie will return. But I will not forgive him for being a traitor of Warcraft. We had a pact, Will. We had a pact, and you broke that pact. We were both out. But hey, there you go. There you go. Arizonk, Cutthroat, being a turbo guy. If you've never played this, man, you really got to check out Arizonk. This is great. This was kind of turbo graphics for the future. Do you know what I mean? So he's a little bit more hip, a little bit more futuristic than Bonk. And a really, really great, solid side-scrolling shooter. It's awesome. Just when you thought you were out, they pull you back in. Well, Josh, we had a pact because the new WoW expansion came out a couple months ago. We both quit WoW cold turkey because it's a powerful drug, that game. And we both said we were out, we were done. No matter what happened with the new expansion, we both made a pact. And then someone gifts him a copy of the expansion pack. And so he's playing it now. There you go. Jesse says, do you remember the Microsoft Sidewinder controller from the 90s? Looked like a boomerang controller. I do not. It was for PC, correct? I don't remember that, dude. Was it similar to that PS3 one? I don't remember that, dude. Was it good or bad? I remember most PC controllers from back in the day, the plastic was like brutally hard. Do you know what I mean? Kind of like the CDI controller. It's really unforgiving on your thumbs. I don't remember the Sidewinder. I'm going to look that up. The Art of Fighting, like Street Fighter, except bigger. You guys remember this? The camera would zoom in and out. It's another great series that SNK had on the Neo Geo. Art of Fighting. I used to have Art of Fighting 2 as well. Good games. I remember there was that big like back and forth between SNK and Capcom back in the day about who was copying who with the designs of their characters. Impossible Pie, what is up? How you doing? Good to see you. You remember playing in the arcades? Yeah. Yeah, it was good. Lemmings, there you go. Josh is for Game Gear, though. It's for the old Game Gear. My Turbo Genesis controller does not have Genesis anywhere. It probably looks like a third-party Turbo controller. Yeah, it's mostly, yeah, if it doesn't say Sega Genesis on it, it's most likely a third party. Streets of Rage for the Game Gear. Admittedly, I don't have a lot of experience with the Sega Game Gear. I really don't. I do have one. I don't have any games for it. But yeah, I don't know. I just, like I've said before, portables, they're not my thing. Got Black Bass on the Game Boy. Joe and Mac on the Game Boy. Were you guys in the chat? Were you guys Game Boy fans? Like, who is like this is like your system? You know, some people were Super Nintendo people, some were Genesis. Like, was this your system? I want to know all the like true hardcore Game Boy fans out there. Yeah, we had a debate, Jesse, a couple months ago where everyone was trolling me because I said that I thought Final Fight by Capcom was a better game than Streets of Rage. And I even put the poll up, dude. Everybody, it was like a landslide, said Streets of Rage. Like, you guys are crazy. Over Final Fight? I remember the image. Do we have a 2-page? No, we don't have a. Sometimes Retro Mags puts them together so you can see the entire 2-page. But I remember seeing the Batman Returns symbol on the links, like in this very ad. And it was like, oh, yeah, crap just got real. But unfortunately, the game didn't really do much. But this is also, they're showcasing not only Batman Returns, but they're showcasing this, which is version 2 of the Atari Lynx. System sales and sales in general were pretty lukewarm for this system all around through its life cycle. I don't think it warranted enough for a redesign. And again, I don't understand these companies where their hardware is not just gangbusters selling out, and yet they find money or they find a reason to pull money out of the development costs and put into redesigning a system. I don't understand it. I understand PlayStation doing it for PS1, PS2, PS3 because they are very successful. But when you're like Lynx, where you're all right, I don't understand redesigning the thing. I don't get it. That's me, though. When happened to Atari for them to fall in love with cats? I'm trying to think. Lynx and the Jaguar, and then there was the Panther, which I think the Panther was a code name for something. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that is. This was not the same Atari that we know and love, the Bushnell. That was gone in the 80s. But I don't know. Atari was like their last, what was their last hardware? That was Jaguar. Like that system was pretty not great, you know? You blame Cutthroat? Well, yeah. Atari was always creeping around like a cat, scared of its own shadow. Is that the official statement? Are we talking about controllers, Jay? Did you like the Dreamcast controller? Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about because this I'll show it again. The issue of EGM that we just gave away to Indo. Let me remove this here. Hang on. We sparked the conversation because on the cover here we can see that it's the next gen in 2006. So we can see we have 360, Wii, and this, which was the prototype for the PlayStation 3 controller. So this kind of sparked it. This was like, let me see if I can find that page again. It was like the Batman Batarang kind of shape. But the Dreamcast, I did. The D-pad was pretty unforgiving on the Dreamcast, but otherwise I did like it, and I like the VMU. Yeah, so there it is again. And I would say, like, for one of the big anniversaries for the PS3, I think it'd be really cool if Sony brought out that controller. That would be sick, man. Anyway, congrats to Indo Nerd again for that and for the Assassin's Creed. All right, you don't want to stand up. That's fine. That's fine. Back to the EGM. Axley. Another one of those games that is usually really highly praised. One I remember, but I never ever did play it. And by the way, I do have to catch up on the Game Awards too. See these random things that pop in my mind, and I feel the need to tell you guys. Just popped in there. Raj says, Jay, what were your thoughts when you saw Soul Calibur for the Dreamcast for the first time? Dude, good question. I thought it was incredible. Yeah, I was a big fan of Battle Arena Toshinden, which was a launch title, if you remember, for the PlayStation in North America, which had taken like Virtual Fighter by Sega to the next step where the characters had weapons. So seeing Soul Calibur and having Toshinden refined even more was exciting. But to take that a step further, Raj, when Soul Calibur 2 was released, I remember that was 2003. That was a really big event too, because the GameCube version, the Xbox, and the PlayStation 2 all had exclusive characters. So there was Hitachi or Harashi, I don't know how you pronounce his name, from Tekken was in PS2 version of Soul Calibur 2. Xbox got McFarlane's Spawn, and then the GameCube got Link from Zelda. I just remember, like, I bought the GameCube one because I wanted to use Link, but I remember renting the other two. And eventually, when they came in, when I started working at EB, and they came in used, I picked them up just to have them in the collection. But that was such a great idea. Yeah, Link was on the GameCube. Yeah, the GameCube had a terrible D-pad, very very small, especially for like fighting games. I can't remember if Soul Calibur used the analog or not. But if you wanted to play like Street Fighter on like GameCube, oh boy, that's rough. I think we got big screen stuff here. RoboCop 3. RoboCop 3. I'm trying to remember if I've seen it. Wasn't RoboCop 3 the one that didn't receive an R rating? Because there's only 3, right? RoboCop 3 was the one who got like didn't have the R rating, and it was really like dumbed down and family friendly. But we can see that that's coming out in the theaters, and we also have an update here. The rumors are true. There's a Street Fighter 2 movie now being produced in Japan. See, that looks like Chun-Li. That looks like Street Fighter. The one that we got here with Van Damme does not. Yeah, TJ. Yeah, Soul Calibur 3 had Vader on the PlayStation and Yoda on the 360. Yeah, that was awesome. I love stuff like that, man. Exclusive content for exclusive systems. exclusively, sorry, for each system. I think that's awesome. Dale, you played Toshinden as well. I haven't been to that since PS1 was out, so I don't know how well that's held up. But that was a great game at launch, man. Because if you remember when the Saturn launched in North America, we had two games. We had Virtual Fighter and then we had Daytona. And the PlayStation launched, and I think it had over 10 titles. It had a lot. And Toshinden was one of them. Matt says he loves the Soul Calibur games. Yeah, they're good. Namco's great at fighting games. And again, different from Midway, different from Capcom, right? The Namco Tekken games and Soul Calibur, they play very, very different. Average Gamer says, hot garbage for Street Fighter. Yeah, we watched it maybe about a year ago, and we did like a show like this on Street Fighter, and it's pretty bad. But what would you say is worse, Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat Annihilation? Annihilation is pretty bad, dude. I think I could stomach Street Fighter over that. In order, it says Street Fighter the movie has the best quotes. I'm going to kick that SOB Bison's ass so hard that the next Bison wannabe is going to have to feel it. And you want to talk about like, oh, here you go. Here's Star Trek. You want to talk about not following any kind of canon. Like they made Honda like Chun-Li's camera operator. Remember Chun-Li was like a news reporter? It just nothing made sense. Nothing made sense. And like every person was on screen for like 5 seconds. Kylie Minogue was Cammy. Good choice, by the way. I don't know. I mean, it was like it was a time where the video game industry didn't really know what it was. It knew that it should be bigger, but there was still like the old school politicians and like the boomers that were like trying to suppress it. I feel like trying to censor it, trying to bring it down. You remember all that stuff, man? Like with Night Trap, of course, with Mortal Kombat and all the politicians that never played it, never even sat down with the game and have someone else play it and they could watch it. They just came to all these conclusions about all these games. Cutler says we need Rob, Jay, and Willie to play Super Street Fighter Tournament Edition together on stream. Make it happen. No, that's not gonna happen. No, you can reach out to Rob. Yeah, it's tough just getting any of us together, man. But 3 of us at the same time. I'm sorry, buddy. I don't think that's going to be able to happen. I would love for that to happen, but everyone's busy, right? Everyone's got their own stuff going on. Is this actually an interview with Patrick Stewart? No. Jean-Luc Picard, captain of the Galaxy-class starship USS Enterprise. Well, no kidding. I don't want to read this. I'm just saying. Sorry, Star Trek fans. TJC says, well, Julia's last role before he passed away. Yep. His famous line from the film, anyone who opposes me will be destroyed. Yeah, he did pretty good, too. I think he was sick there, too. I think he was pretty sick during that time. I think he was great. It's just little things. Like, I don't even care about Van Damme's accent. That didn't bother me. They didn't even, like, attempt to give him Guile's hair. Like, they didn't tell Van Damme to grow his hair. They didn't get a wig. And on top of it, they used like a cheap dye. They didn't even bleach blonde dye. They didn't even use like bleach blonde as the color or whatever for Van Damme's hair. Do you know what I mean? It's like this really weird, like kind of goldy color. Do you guys remember? All you Gen Xers out there, do you remember the hair product called Sun-In? Who remembers Sun-In? It was like a spray, like a hairspray, and you would spray it on your hair, And then the idea was you would go out in the sun, and then the natural sunlight would like naturally make your hair blonde. Who remembers that? Well, it never worked, and I tried it because I had the skate bangs, with the short here, and then you had the bangs hanging down. So I would spray sun in on my friggin' bangs all the time, and it would come out like that weird copper color, like Van Damme's hair in Street Fighter. But they didn't even make his hair blonde. Like, it's just weird. And Ken looked terrible too. Anyway, enough about that. Game over. This is the section where we have the end boss and usually the ending screens to a game. This time we were treated to the ending of Super Adventure Island for the Super Nintendo. So cheers to Adventure Island. Here we go. There's RoboCop 3. For all you people, we were speaking at the beginning of the broadcast about franchises that just get beat into the friggin' ground. Here's one. I personally just think that RoboCop should have been a one and done. And I understand the Hollywood machine thinks differently, but these just got worse, I think, as they went. Shout out to Retro Mags. Guys, check out retromags.com. The link to their site is in the description of this video. This is where we get these beautifully archived issues of Electronic Gaming Monthly that we go through every Sunday, and they have everything from Nintendo Power to Game Players to Game Pro to video games and computer entertainment. Basically everything you could want. So make sure you check out Retro Mags. And what do we got coming up tomorrow? What is tomorrow? Let me check the old schedule here. We have, yes, the Trading Card Game Shop. Yes, I'm opening my new store, and that is Jay's Bent Corner. So we are doing the 12 days of gaming. We are streaming all the way until Christmas Eve, and I have a poll up right now for channel members in the community tab. Sorry, it's not a poll, it's a suggestion. What you want to see for that final day. The final day I've left completely open. So give me some of your suggestions on what you want to see streamed for that final day. The final day leading up to when Santa Claus comes down that chimney. It's all up to you guys. So Trading Card Shop Simulator, which I've heard nothing but good things about, will be tomorrow. The only time that is changing will be Indiana Jones and the Great Circle Part 2, which will be at 5 p.m. on Tuesday instead of the normal 9 o'clock. And that's because I have an appointment on Tuesday that I cannot miss. But we will be streaming at night. The rest of the week will be 9 a.m. as usual. Okay? Okay, friends? What else you got for me? We made it all the way through that with one coffee. I even have the video up for a break. And we were just going. But I'm all out. Look. Empty. Do it, average gamer. Rent yourself a movie. Rent yourself a game. Do it. Check it out. You guys are the best. Thank you for hanging out with me. Really enjoyed my time with you guys. I'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. for some Pokemon trading card games. That's going to be fun. We get to run our own card shop and jack up the prices to those suckers who don't even expect it or see it coming. All right, my friends. We'll see you tomorrow. Have yourself a great Sunday. Cheers. Game Store is the hottest new online gaming store, hitting just in time for the holiday season. You can find their insane selection of miniature games, collectible card games, and board games at thegamestore.com. Currently, they're pushing their huge campaign on filling half their store with video games. And that means they are buying video games like crazy. Now, if you can't make it to their brick and mortar store, you can sell your games online with 3 easy steps. Step number 1, send a list of the games you wish to sell at sales@thegamestore.com. Make sure you add if they're complete, working, non-working, or minty fresh. 2, you will receive a preliminary offer back that may change depending on further inspection. Once you have the offer, it's good for 3 days. All you have to do is reply back and accept it. Step 3. Finally, the game store will send you a prepaid label that you print out and you just ship your games to them. Upon inspection, verification, and acceptance of the price, they will send you the money any way you choose. Now that can be cash, check, PayPal, bottle caps, any way you choose. Get in on the ground floor and sell your games that are just sitting there collecting dust. And just remember, wherever you are, wherever you play, everyone shops at the game store.